All right, elsewhere on that card, any other one or two maybe fights of note?
You saw Charles Oliveira submitting Jonathan Brookins. Charles Oliveira is a guy that had some success at 155 pounds, has dropped to 145, and has looked unbelievable. He is undefeated at featherweight with another victory on
generally
Friday
when
night.
a guy drops down and he's been training for a while at a certain weight and then drops down, generally he's really sort of more powerful perhaps than some of his opponents. Is that what you saw here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I think Oliveira was a guy that was maybe undersized for 155 and is fighting more at a natural weight at 145. You do see it a lot where guys are more powerful when they drop down to the lighter weight class, but sometimes it's a case where Oliveira maybe shouldn't have been fighting at 155. He just got away with it.
Bad trainer advice or something.
No, I think it was just an easier weight cut, and he was winning his fights. I mean, Frankie Edgar, he's the former UFC lightweight champion. Right after he lost to Benson Henderson, the guy had lost once before to Gray Maynard. He avenged that loss. Then he fights Benson Henderson, loses a very close decision that I actually thought Frankie won. Then people start saying, oh, well, Frankie should drop down to 145. He shouldn't fight at lightweight anymore. As long as you keep winning, nobody's going to complain in what weight class you're fighting in. But if you lose a fight, then people will say, oh, well, maybe you're undersized for this weight class. Frankie Edgar could fight at 145. He cuts like no weight to make 155, but he's comfortable there. Cutting weight is not comfortable, and he's successful. So why knock what's working for Frankie Edgar? And I think it was the same for Oliveira at a certain point, but then he lost a fight to Jim Miller, lost a fight to Donald Cerrone, and he figured, okay, well, I might not be upper echelon here at 155. Let's go down to 145 and see what we can do. And so far, it's been working very well for him.
All right, and then obviously ringsidereport.net every month comes out with the top rankings per category. I know that's something that's come out as usual for you, Dave. Anyone moving and shaking up the ladder for you?
I mean, a little bit of moving. Let's see. Heavyweights, you have Daniel Cormier. He beat Josh Barnett this month. I had Cormier ranked 5th in the world last month, and Barnett ranked 4th. So they fought, and they did a switcheroo. So now I have Cormier ranked 4th in the world, Josh Barnett ranked 5th. That's about it for the heavyweight division. No movement in the light heavyweight division. A little bit of movement in the welterweights. Johnny Hendricks, who was previously ranked 8th in the world, he got a victory over Josh Koscheck on May 5th. So I bumped Hendricks up. I mean, this guy coming off 2 victories over very tough guys in John Fitch and Josh Koscheck. He deserves to jump up in the rankings. He's now ranked 4th in the world, right behind George St. Pierre, number 1.
At the weight category.
Welterweight. George St. Pierre, of course, still number 1. Condit, number 2. Nick Diaz, number 3. And now Hendricks, number 4, which drops Josh Koscheck down to 5th overall in the world. So, yeah, a little bit of movement here and there. Nate Diaz made a big jump. Nate Diaz jumping up from 7th last month to 5th overall this month. He had a big win over Jim Miller on that May 5th card. Chan Sung Jung, he was 7th last month. He jumps up to 5th this month in the featherweight division. Chan Sung Jung with a very nice victory over Dustin Poirier on the 15th of this month. So a few moves here and there. The number ones, though, still in their spot at number 1.
Now, predominantly these guys are UFC property, and that's where the best of the best are. But Dave, you mentioned there's maybe a name or two that are in other promotions like Bellator in your rankings.
Yeah, most of the guys that we have ranked are UFC guys. I mentioned Daniel Cormier and Josh Barnett. Obviously, they fight over in the Strikeforce promotion. I have them ranked in the top 10 at heavyweight. I have Gegard Mousasi ranked in the top 10 at light heavyweight at number 8. Gegard fights for the Strikeforce promotion. We have a former Bellator champion, Hector Lombard, ranked 10th in the world at middleweight. So you do have here and there some guys that aren't in the UFC. Luke Rockhold, I have him ranked 9th in the world at middleweight. He's the Strikeforce middleweight champion. Michael Chandler, he's the Bellator lightweight champion, 10-0, undefeated, coming off a TKO win over Akihiro Gono. I have him ranked 10th in the world at lightweight. So you do have guys here and there from the different promotions, but for the most part, as you mentioned, the top 10 in the world in most weight classes are in the UFC because that's where the best of the best fight, and that's where you can jump up in the rankings by fighting guys that are, ranked up there.